Tonight, how Canada plans to hit back, the preparations for a possible trade war.
Hey guys.
Ready to retaliate.
But if push comes to shove, we will be strong and unequivocal in our defense of Canada and Canadians.
As a new contender in the Liberal leadership race makes Donald Trump's tariffs the main issue. Time is running out on TikTok in the U.S. How will that influence Canada?
It's probably responsible for half of my income.
Plus, drivers told to stay off the roads after a blizzard and an emergency alert in Manitoba. Also, eating up a tax break that restaurants want as a permanent part of the menu. And an amazing moment for one hockey mom.
It was tears before the game, but during the game, it's business.
The remarkable reaction as her son plays out his dream in the NHL.
For him to step on the ice in that building was a dream come true.
CTV National News with Heather Butts.
Good evening. Ottawa is ready to retaliate if Donald Trump actually moves ahead with his plan to impose devastating tariffs against Canada. The government says it's prepared a plan that would inflict equal economic damage. Tariffs will also be the leading issue in the race to replace Justin Trudeau. And today, Chrystia Freeland confirmed online she's in and will make it formal on Sunday. CTV's Rachel Aiello starts us off.
Canada is bracing for a trade war. CTV News has confirmed that while officials still don't know exactly what's coming, the government is readying a three-phase response that they could begin enacting as early as Monday.
Push comes to shove, we will be strong and unequivocal in our defense of Canada and Canadians.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau met with his new Canada-U.S. Relations Council today to game out Canada's retaliation if U.S. President-elect Donald Trump follows through on his threat to slap a 25% tariff on Canadian imports. That plan, according to a senior government source with close knowledge of the file, would see Canada slap the U.S. with tariffs of an equal value. It would start with an initial round targeting a smaller list of American goods that Canadians would be encouraged not to buy. Then, a short consultation and the levying of counter tariffs on a list of consumer goods worth $37 billion. And if needed, a third round, taking aim at another $110 billion worth of manufacturing and steel products. The official said talk of leveraging Canada's energy exports are also still on the table.
This would be basically starting a trade war.
After meeting with U.S. lawmakers, Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly said today she is still trying to prevent Trump's tariffs.
And when I mentioned the impacts of a Trump tariff tax on Americans, they're not only surprised, they're very worried.
Today, Chrystia Freeland soft-launched her run to replace Trudeau with a focus on taking on Donald Trump that she's set to detail more at an official launch on Sunday. Previewing her approach in a new op-ed, Freeland writes that Canada's counterpunch must be dollar for dollar, and if pushed, the single largest trade blow the U.S. economy has ever endured. Trudeau has yet to share how many jobs could be on the line, though those advising the government say Canadians need to be engaged.
We are going to have to, all of us, have some pain, I think, after we see what happens next week.
Today, Natural Resources Minister Jonathan Wilkinson was the latest to confirm he won't be running for Liberal leader, citing a desire to keep a steady hand on the energy file. He'll be joining the rest of Cabinet at a retreat intentionally set to take place over the first 2 days of Trump's second term, to allow Canada to rapidly respond to any trade action. Heather?
Just days away, Rachel, thank you. The possibility of tariffs has many Canadians anxious about what it will mean for certain industries. In Canada's smallest province, there is major concern. CTV's Sarah Plowman has more from Prince Edward Island.
On Prince Edward Island, the land and water shape its economy. For some, growing and packing potatoes isn't just what they do, it's who they are. More than half of the potatoes from PEI go to the U.S.
Very significant market, long-term relationships there.
anything that would impact that is obviously of huge concern.
Talk of tariffs has created uncertainty.
There will be a reaction from the marketplace. Inadvertently, it'll come in higher prices at some point.
The bulk of Ray Keenan's potatoes go to the U.S., and this week so did he, along with a PEI delegation led by the Premier, with a message there's no need for tariffs.
We've taken to calling it the Trump tariff tax because at the end of the day, the end user pays for all of the input costs along the way for these products.
They stress the long-standing link between Canada and the U.S. within agriculture and fishing. Nearly 25% of all of PEI's GDP comes from its exports to the United States.
I hope our interests there and our efforts there have put it more top of mind than it has been as we go into the U.S. inauguration.
Those on the trip say virtually everyone agreed they didn't want tariffs on Canada.
We've got shared values, we've got shared infrastructure, we want to see prosperity on both sides of the border.
Still, people are bracing.
We will get through this. We'll come out stronger for it in the end. In the meantime, it could be painful.
Trade relationships people here say weren't built overnight, but over generations.
It's not like we can go out tomorrow and or next week, depending on what happens, and find alternative markets.
Premier King estimates tariffs would cost Prince Edward Island about $250 million and potentially 1,500 jobs. Significant for any part of this country, but especially for a province of this size. Heather.
Sarah, thank you. The U.S. Supreme Court upheld a ruling that will force TikTok to go dark on Sunday, the day before inauguration, leaving the fate of the social media app in Donald Trump's hands. Here's CTV's Alex Carpa on where that leaves Canadian content creators.
Right now, we're on the 25th floor of Carleton Street in Winnipeg.
65,000 people follow Maddie Thompson as she documents her life as a business owner on TikTok. She's worried she could lose a lot of them if the app gets banned.
I think it would be a bad decision.
Although mainly Winnipeg-based, Thompson says she has a ton of followers from the U.S. and has been keeping a close eye on the evolving situation.
That will affect that audience, and I'm hoping that they can find me on these other platforms and make the effort to actually go out of the way and follow me on other platforms.
The tech experts I spoke to said that if the U.S. goes through with the ban, Canada is more than likely to follow suit. But even if they don't, an app without American users potentially means less followers for Canadians.
I am finally allowed to tell the story of how we tried to prank.
Influencer Nolan Coop describes himself as an internet filmmaker, and a ban would hit his company hard.
It's probably responsible for half of my income. Not just for my own accounts, but we also run clients' TikTok accounts. It's a big part of our business, and we do work with companies in the States.
After the U.S. Supreme Court's ruling to uphold the ban, the incoming U.S. president says he wants to think about it, posting, "My decision on TikTok will be made in the not-too-distant future, but I must have time to review the situation."
I want to thank President Trump for his commitment to work with us to find a solution that keeps TikTok available.
TikTok has over 1 billion users worldwide, with 170 million users in the U.S. and 14 million in Canada. Coop says the platform connects the world in such a fast way.
I'm hoping that, the new presidency can come in and, maybe save it.
Some users are already flocking to competitors like Chinese-owned social site RedNote, which has topped the charts on Apple and Google's app stores this week. Alex Carpa, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Despite plans by the U.S. to ban TikTok, its CEO is planning to be at Donald Trump's inauguration.
It's Show here. I'm the CEO of TikTok.
Show 2 will reportedly have a prominent seat at Trump's swearing in, and so will Amazon's Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg of Meta, Apple's Tim Cook, and Google's Sundar Pichai. Cook has reportedly donated $1 million. Amazon, Meta, and Google have done the same for the inaugural fund. Billionaire Elon Musk will also be there, of course, as he's become a key advisor for Trump. Frigid temperatures in the forecast for Monday have forced Donald Trump's inauguration indoors. Temperatures are expected to drop to around 6 below freezing, so the United States Capitol Rotunda will host the ceremony. Trump posted on social media that Capital One Arena will be open for the public to view the ceremony and that he will join the crowd there after the swearing in. The Secret Service is determining how moving the events indoors will impact security plans. The last time the Rotunda hosted an inauguration was for Ronald Reagan in 1985. Another major breakthrough tonight in the Middle East. Israel's cabinet has approved a ceasefire deal that will bring Israel and Hamas a step closer to ending their deadliest and most destructive fighting ever. CTV's Javier Bushman has the details.
Hostages taken into Gaza 468 days ago will start coming home Sunday, according to Israel. After last-minute talks and infighting within his government, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu convened his security cabinet. Its endorsement cleared a key hurdle to sealing the deal. For now, Israeli strikes continue to pound Gaza. But under the ceasefire deal, fighting will halt on Sunday for a 6-week truce. Hamas has pledged to release 33 hostages, and hospitals in Israel are preparing to care for them. Israel will release a number of Palestinian prisoners and allow up to 600 trucks of desperately needed aid to enter Gaza each day. Each day, UNICEF says 10 children are now killed.
We've seen children die of malnutrition, we've seen children die of hypothermia, we've seen children die, as we have warned for a long, long time, from the skies and from the ground.
A second phase of negotiations aimed at ending the war will be held in coming weeks. To many displaced residents in Gaza, this is the first sign of hope for peace in months. There won't be the sound of warplanes, she says, and God willing, people will return to their homes. Though it won't be like this. These are images taken in 2023 before the war. Fighting has since razed much of Gaza and killed tens of thousands, say local authorities. In Israel, too, there is now guarded hope. Mikhail Iluz thanked negotiators, though he knows his own kidnapped son, Guy, won't be coming home alive.
This deal comes too late for my son, Guy, whose life will not be saved, but it can be brought back home to burial here. Our work is not done. We will not rest until every hostage is home, the living and the dead. They all need to return to us, to their family. Thank you very much.
Israel's full cabinet was meeting well past the beginning of the Sabbath, a reflection of the importance of this moment. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News.
A child from Gaza arrived in Winnipeg Thursday to receive much-needed medical help in Canada.
These children, in conjunction with our work with the federal government, have been carefully selected under the advice of excellent medical professionals here in the province to be able to be targeted for healthcare services.
The boy and his mother were met at the airport by Premier Wab Kinew. He says the province is planning to welcome a second child in the coming weeks. He says the boy, who made it to Egypt, has a genetic condition that can't be fully treated in the region. Drivers in parts of Manitoba were urged to stay home today as blinding blizzard conditions caused chaos on the roads and triggered an emergency alert. Here's CTV's Danton Unger on the fallout from the storm.
This was the scene Friday morning on Highway 52 east of Steinbach.
It's just crazy and mind-boggling.
Le Brokery Fire Chief Jean-Claude Normando says 14 vehicles were involved in this pileup, but thankfully there were no serious injuries. He says he's never seen anything like this before.
Not to this magnitude, no.
But this was just one of several major pileups on Manitoba highways, like this one involving up to 100 vehicles near St. Anne, or this one on Main Street near Lockport, and this 6-car pileup near Roland, Manitoba.
Pretty much every officer that's probably working in southern Manitoba right now has or is at a collision scene right now.
These massive crashes prompted a code orange at hospitals in St. Anne and Steinbach, along with a code orange alert at Health Sciences Centre in Winnipeg to prepare for a possible influx of patients, and an emergency alert from Manitoba Transportation and Infrastructure warning motorists to stay off the roads.
I think probably between 8 in the morning till now, we're probably looking at 40+ collisions reported to us.
All this from a major blizzard that hit Winnipeg and southern Manitoba Friday, closing nearly all major highways as winds over 90 kilometers an hour wiped out visibility.
It's crazy. The weather is crazy over here, man.
Jaskarn Singh was among the dozens of long-distance truckers stranded in Winnipeg Friday due to the road closures.
I woke up, I saw this. The wind is crazy. My trailer is empty. I can't drive. Now I'm stuck here overnight.
And while conditions are expected to improve, RCMP are still warning people to stay off the roads.
If you don't need to be out in the highways, stay home today.
Danton Unger, CTV News, Winnipeg.
2 police officers are facing criminal charges in a deadly crash east of Toronto last April.
This was a tragic and catastrophic event
that resulted in the death of innocent lives, devastated a family, and has profoundly impacted our community.
The crash took the lives of a 3-month-old boy and his 2 grandparents. Investigators say it happened as Durham Regional Police officers were chasing a robbery suspect going the wrong way on Ontario's busiest highway. The suspect was also killed. The officers are each charged with 3 counts of criminal negligence causing death and 2 of criminal negligence causing bodily harm. In a statement, the officers' lawyers say their client's sole motivation was to save lives and stop the suspect, who they say put everyone in danger. Armed Toronto police officers arrested a man after he tried to escape in a stolen Hummer.
Like literally out of a movie, like cars sprinting down and then the Hummer comes down and then they're ramming into the police. It was just insane.
The incident happened around 10:15 last night. Several police cruisers surrounded the driver before he was tased and dragged out of the car. Investigators say the 32-year-old man was out on bail after being arrested in connection with another police pursuit involving a stolen vehicle. He faces 8 charges, including assaulting a peace officer and breaching bail conditions. Coming up, deals on meals.
It definitely makes you feel a little better about coming out for a lunch.
What restaurant owners and customers are saying about the GST holiday. The GST and HST holiday is scheduled to end on February 15th, but some may want it to last longer, given some positive returns, especially in the restaurant industry. CTV's Paul Hollingsworth brings us reaction from Nova Scotia.
Sam Tulaney makes pizzas and donaires by the dozen each day. Post-Christmas sales are on the rise.
Who doesn't like a deal?
The GST-HST holiday is leaving Canadians with a few extra dollars in their bank accounts.
When they find out, they're really happy about it.
It's a similar sentiment at this busy Halifax restaurant.
We are finding it's helping us.
The temporary tax discount allows this customer to stomach some added expenses.
It definitely makes you feel a little better about coming out for a lunch.
A boost in business comes at a good time. According to the Restaurant Association of Nova Scotia, in 2024, nearly half of the restaurants in this province were losing money or barely breaking even. Restaurant owner Lil McPherson says making these meals tax-free is proving to be a force multiplier.
We have people coming in and getting a break. We have all small, medium-sized businesses getting more sales because of the break. And then if you put the added addition of driving the local economy.
It's also happening across the country. There was an 18% increase in dining in Canada from December 17th to 24th compared to the same week in 2023. The number of times Canadians purchased a meal or snack from a restaurant in December rose 7% from the previous year. Restaurants Canada is calling on the federal government to make the tax break on prepared food permanent.
People need to eat, and making food more expensive with a tax policy is bad public policy.
According to Restaurants Canada, the GST-HST holiday allows a typical couple to save as much as $15 on a $100 meal, so they can spend the extra cash on a drink or dessert. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Halifax.
Still ahead, legal drama. The role 2 superstars played in the legal battle between Blake Lively and Jason Baldoni. We're learning more about the legal saga between Hollywood stars Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively. The two were featured in the summer hit It Ends With Us. But there seems to be no end to their feud. Baldoni has filed his own lawsuit. CTV's Kamal Kramali joins us with more on a new twist and how much Baldoni is seeking. Kamal.
Heather, Justin Baldoni is seeking $400 million in damages from Blake Lively and her husband, Canadian actor Ryan Reynolds. But the biggest bombshell, though, Taylor Swift now appears to have been brought into the drama. Baldoni claiming in the nearly 200-page complaint that Swift and Ryan Reynolds pressured him to accept Blake Lively's rewrites for the film. Baldoni alleges he was, quote, summoned to a meeting with Lively and Reynolds with Taylor Swift Swift also being present, where he felt he was pressured to go with Lively's version of the script. The latest twist comes nearly a month after Lively filed her own lawsuit, where she claimed Baldoni exhibited, quote, unprofessional behavior that led to a hostile work environment. Experts say Baldoni's lawsuit, filed so soon after, is all part of a war to control the narrative, and it's a war he isn't likely to win.
You know what wins litigation cases, Camille? Litigation budgets. Sad as that is, who's got the bigger bank here? Lively and Company, for sure.
Lively's lawyers responding today, saying that this is an age-old story of an abuser attempting to turn the tables on the victim. Heather.
Kamal, thank you. Still ahead, a dream come true. An Ottawa man makes his Senator's debut in front of a hometown crowd. A proud hockey mom is savoring her son's success, living out a childhood dream, lacing up in the NHL for his hometown team he was always shooting for. CTV's Josh Morano has a reaction from the arena.
Donovan in Ottawa. As Donovan Sabrango stepped onto the ice for the first time at the Canadian Tire Centre, his mom, Kim, couldn't contain her emotions.
Whether it's once or 1,000 times, had that moment and that experience I'm so proud of him.
But Kim is a true hockey fan, and after watching his rookie lap and getting a souvenir puck, it was back to the task at hand.
At the beginning of the game, the first shift, it was tears before the game, but during the game, it's business.
Kim is a lifelong Sens fan, along with her son, growing up in the Ottawa area. So seeing Donovan on the ice, where their idols played, was a full circle moment.
It was just so surreal to have it take place in Ottawa. To have that moment for him to step on the ice in that building was a dream come true, to say the least.
I think it's every kid's dream to, put on your hometown jersey. So, words can't really describe it. Still hasn't fully sunk in, but incredible night for me and my family.
And just because you play in the NHL doesn't get you out of taking photos with your mom.
I said, I know where the players pull in. I know you don't want me to give you a hug there. Can you just pull down the street a little bit? And I got to see you. And I said, I got to take a picture. He's like, Mom, I got to go.
She did everything for me. So, I held back the tears, but I was definitely emotional for her because that was really her rookie lap.
I saw him get into that little tussle, and it was awesome because that's also Donovan, as sweet as he is, and he talks about his mom, he's feisty.
Josh Morano, CTV News.
An unforgettable moment. That is our newscast for this Friday night. For all of us at CTV National News, thank you for watching. I'm Heather Butts. Good night, and I'll see you again tomorrow.